Before you scroll away, hear this carefully, because what you're about to discover could completely change the way you see the people around you. There is a reason this message found you today. There is a reason your attention stopped here at this exact moment. Somewhere in the shadows, someone has been paying far more attention to your life than you realize. Every move, every decision, every success, every setback. While you were simply living your life, another person was quietly observing, collecting information, and keeping track of things you thought nobody noticed. What makes this situation even more disturbing is that the truth has been hidden behind a mask of normal behavior. On the surface, everything looked ordinary. Nothing appeared suspicious. Yet beneath that calm appearance, a story was unfolding that few people could have predicted. The signs were there, but they were subtle. The clues appeared, but they were easy to dismiss. Now those hidden pieces are beginning to come together, and what they reveal is impossible to ignore. Stay with me until the end, because the final part of this message may explain events that have confused you for months. It may reveal why certain people suddenly appeared in your life, why strange patterns kept repeating, and why some situations never felt quite right. Most importantly, it could help you avoid a dangerous trap that catches countless people before they ever see it coming. There are individuals who do not merely watch from a distance. They study, they analyze, they gather details. They pay attention to routines, habits, strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. Not because they admire those things, but because information can become power in the wrong hands. While many people openly express their intentions, others operate quietly, believing that secrecy gives them an advantage. The dangerous part is not always the observation itself. The real danger begins when hidden observation turns into manipulation. When someone gathers enough information about another person, they may attempt to influence decisions, control perceptions, or create situations designed to benefit themselves. This is how many traps begin, not with force, but with knowledge. Think about the moments when something felt strange, but you couldn't explain why. Perhaps someone seemed to know details they should not have known. Perhaps certain coincidences happened too often to be random. Perhaps information about your life traveled to places you never shared it. Most people dismiss these experiences because they seem insignificant on their own. Yet when viewed together, they can form a much larger picture. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that every observer is harmless. Some are, some simply notice. But others watch with intention. They wait patiently. They gather pieces slowly. They build a complete picture over time, and once they believe they understand how you think, they may attempt to predict your next move. The good news is that truth has a remarkable quality. It resists being buried forever. No matter how carefully someone hides their actions, the pressure of secrecy eventually creates cracks. Small contradictions appear, stories stop matching, unexpected witnesses emerge, hidden motives become visible. What was once concealed begins demanding to be seen. Right now, many hidden situations are approaching that breaking point. Information is surfacing. Conversations are happening. Questions are being asked. People who remained silent are beginning to speak. What seemed protected by darkness is gradually being exposed by light. This is why awareness matters more than fear. Fear causes people to panic. Awareness causes people to prepare. Fear blinds. Awareness reveals. The moment you become conscious of a potential trap, you are already in a stronger position than those who remain unaware. Knowledge creates options. Awareness creates protection. Pay attention to patterns. Listen carefully to your instincts. Observe actions more than words. People can control what they say, but over time their actions reveal who they truly are. Consistency exposes character. Repetition reveals intention. Eventually, the truth introduces itself without needing an invitation. You were never meant to live in constant suspicion, but you were meant to live with wisdom. Wisdom recognizes that not everyone who enters your life deserves unlimited access to your private world. Wisdom understands the value of healthy boundaries. Wisdom knows that trust should be earned, not automatically granted. As this truth continues to emerge, remember that exposure is not destruction, it is protection. Hidden things come into the light so they can no longer operate in secret. What is being revealed now may initially surprise you, but in the long run it can save you from far greater harm. And that is why you needed to hear this message today. Someone may have been quietly watching, recording, studying, or gathering information, believing their actions would remain hidden forever. But the truth has its own timing. Secrets eventually reach their expiration date. Masks eventually fall. Hidden agendas eventually reveal themselves. So remain alert, stay wise, trust your discernment, The truth is coming out, and when it does, what once seemed confusing will finally make sense. The dangerous trap loses its power the moment you see it clearly. And now you are beginning to see. There are moments in life when you suddenly realize that someone has been paying attention to you far more closely than you ever imagined. At first, it may seem impossible. You tell yourself that you're overthinking, that you're connecting dots that don't belong together. But then small details begin to stand out. Someone knows things you never directly shared. Someone seems unusually aware of your routines, your habits, your plans, and even your emotions. What once appeared to be harmless curiosity starts feeling like something much deeper. The unsettling truth is that not everyone watches from a distance out of admiration or concern. Some people observe because they are trying to understand every part of your life. They study your reactions. They notice your strengths and weaknesses. They pay attention to when you're confident and when you're vulnerable. While you're focused on moving forward, they're quietly gathering pieces of information that help them build a picture of who you are. The most dangerous observers are rarely obvious. They don't announce their presence. They don't reveal their intentions. Instead, they remain hidden behind ordinary conversations, casual interactions, and seemingly innocent questions. That's what makes this situation so important to recognize. When someone watches in silence for a long period of time, they often believe they have an advantage. They think they know more than you realize. They think they can predict your decisions and understand your next move before you make it. Yet what they fail to understand is that no secret observation remains hidden forever. The truth always leaves traces. Patterns emerge, contradictions appear, hidden motives become harder to conceal. The very information they collected in silence eventually becomes the evidence that exposes them. What seemed invisible begins to come into focus, and what was once concealed starts revealing itself piece by piece. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Stay aware, trust your instincts, and never underestimate the value of paying attention to the signs that others hope you will ignore, because awareness is often the first step toward protection and freedom. The hidden evidence is about to surface. There is something remarkable about the truth. No matter how deeply it is buried, it has a way of finding its way back into the light. Many people believe they can hide their actions forever. They assume that if enough time passes, questions will disappear and suspicions will fade. They convince themselves that secrets can remain locked away indefinitely. But history, experience, and human nature all point to the same reality. Hidden things rarely stay hidden forever. Evidence has a strange way of surviving. It lingers in conversations, memories, patterns, and details that seem insignificant until the moment they suddenly become important. What appears invisible today can become undeniable tomorrow. You may have experienced situations where something never quite made sense. Certain events felt incomplete. Certain explanations seemed weak. Certain people behaved in ways that raised quiet questions in your mind. Yet there was never enough proof to understand what was truly happening. As a result, you moved forward, carrying uncertainty while waiting for clarity that never seemed to arrive. What you may not realize is that clarity often arrives when people least expect it. The missing pieces do not appear all at once. They emerge gradually. A forgotten detail returns to memory. An unexpected conversation reveals new information. A contradiction exposes itself. A person who remained silent decides to speak. Slowly, the puzzle begins to assemble itself. Those who rely on secrecy often make the same mistake. They believe that controlling information means controlling the truth. They assume that if they hide enough details, they can shape the story forever. Yet maintaining a false narrative requires constant effort. Every secret creates pressure. Every hidden action creates risk. Every deception introduces the possibility of exposure. Over time, that pressure becomes difficult to manage. Mistakes happen. Stories change. Details stop matching. The cracks begin to show. What is unfolding now may be one of those moments when hidden evidence starts rising to the surface. What once seemed confusing may soon become understandable. What once appeared random may reveal a pattern. What once felt like a mystery may finally provide answers. The truth may move slowly, but it never stops moving, and when the evidence finally surfaces, it often reveals far more than anyone expected. A dangerous trap is being exposed. Most traps do not look dangerous when you first encounter them. If they did, nobody would ever fall into them. The most effective traps are carefully disguised. They appear harmless, attractive, and sometimes even beneficial. They arrive wrapped in opportunity, friendship, attention, or promises that seem too good to ignore. That is why so many people walk directly into situations that later become some of the most painful experiences of their lives. The danger was never obvious in the beginning. It revealed itself only after trust had already been given and defenses had already been lowered. There are people who understand this principle very well. They know that pressure rarely works as effectively as patience. Instead of forcing their way into someone's life, they slowly create an environment where trust develops naturally. They learn what a person wants, what they fear, and what they hope for. Then they use that knowledge to position themselves in ways that seem helpful and supportive. On the surface, everything appears normal. Nothing feels threatening. Yet beneath that appearance, a trap may already be taking shape. One of the clearest warning signs is when someone's words and actions begin moving in different directions. They may say all the right things, but their behavior creates confusion instead of clarity. They may promise support while secretly creating obstacles. They may present themselves as trustworthy while consistently hiding important information. These contradictions often go unnoticed because people tend to focus on what they want to believe rather than what they can actually see. The encouraging news is that every trap contains the seeds of its own exposure. Maintaining deception requires constant effort. Hidden motives become harder to conceal over time. False stories develop inconsistencies. Manipulation leaves patterns. Eventually, what was designed to remain invisible starts becoming visible. The very strategies used to keep the trap hidden begin revealing its existence. If you have sensed that something around you feels wrong, do not ignore that feeling. Pay attention. Observe carefully. Ask questions when answers do not make sense. Trust should never require you to abandon wisdom. The more clearly you see reality, the less power any trap can have over you. And right now, the truth is beginning to shine light on what was once hidden, exposing a dangerous situation before it can cause the harm it was designed to create. The truth always finds a way out. There is a reason people throughout history have feared the truth even more than consequences. Consequences can sometimes be delayed, avoided, or transferred to someone else. The truth, however, has a persistence that cannot be permanently defeated. It waits patiently. It moves quietly. It survives behind closed doors, hidden conversations, and carefully constructed stories. No matter how many layers are placed over it, the truth continues to exist beneath the surface, waiting for the moment when it can finally be seen. This is why secrets often create more anxiety than honesty. Deep down, people know that what is hidden today may become visible tomorrow. Many individuals spend enormous amounts of time and energy trying to control what others know. They carefully choose what information to reveal and what information to conceal. They believe that if they can manage appearances, they can manage reality itself. For a while, this strategy may seem successful. Questions remain unanswered. Doubts remain unspoken. Suspicion remains uncertain. Yet reality has a way of resisting manipulation. Facts leave traces. Actions create consequences. Decisions produce evidence. Even when nobody is actively searching for the truth often begins revealing itself through unexpected circumstances. What makes this process so powerful is that exposure rarely happens in the way people expect. It may begin with a small inconsistency that seems unimportant. A statement does not match a previous story. A hidden detail unexpectedly emerges. A person who once remained silent chooses to speak. A forgotten piece of information suddenly gains significance. Individually, these moments may appear insignificant. Together, they form a path leading directly toward the truth. The people who rely on secrecy often underestimate how difficult it is to maintain a false reality over time. Every deception requires support from another deception. Every hidden action creates new risks. Every lie increases the pressure to protect previous lies. Eventually, that pressure becomes too great. Mistakes happen. Details are forgotten. Contradictions become visible. The structure begins to weaken from within. If you are currently facing confusion, uncertainty, or unanswered questions, remember this: not knowing everything today does not mean you will never know. Some answers arrive slowly because they require the right moment to emerge. The truth does not always operate on human schedules, but it never stops moving toward the light. What is concealed now may already be on its way to being revealed because the truth has a remarkable ability to break through barriers, overcome resistance, and find its way out no matter how long it has been hidden. Your awareness is your protection. One of the greatest mistakes people make is believing that protection comes only from strength, power, or control. While those things can be valuable in certain situations, true protection often begins much earlier with awareness. Awareness is the ability to notice what others overlook. It is the quiet skill of observing patterns, recognizing inconsistencies, and paying attention to details that do not seem to fit. Long before a problem becomes visible to everyone else, awareness allows you to sense that something is changing beneath the surface. It acts like an early warning system, giving you the opportunity to respond before a situation becomes dangerous. Many people fall into traps not because they are weak, but because they are distracted. They become so focused on daily responsibilities, emotions, and expectations that they stop paying attention to what is happening around them. This is exactly why awareness is so powerful. It helps you remain present. It encourages you to look beyond appearances and examine what is actually taking place. While others accept everything at face value, an aware person notices subtle shifts in behavior, unexpected patterns, and signs that deserve closer attention. There are moments when your instincts try to communicate something important. You may not have evidence. You may not have a complete explanation. Yet something feels unusual. A conversation seems forced. A situation feels inconsistent. A person's actions do not align with their words. These moments should not automatically lead to suspicion, but they should encourage observation. Awareness does not mean living in fear. It means remaining attentive enough to recognize reality as it is, rather than as you wish it to be. The people who depend on secrecy, manipulation, or deception often count on others being unaware. They rely on distraction. They rely on assumptions. They rely on the belief that nobody is paying close attention. The moment awareness enters the situation, their advantage begins to disappear. Hidden motives become easier to identify. Patterns become clearer. Decisions become wiser. What once seemed confusing starts making sense. That is why awareness is one of the most valuable forms of protection you can possess. It costs nothing, yet it can save you from countless mistakes. It requires no special resources, yet it strengthens every decision you make. The more aware you become, the more difficult it becomes for others to mislead, manipulate, or control you. In a world where appearances can be deceiving, awareness is the light that helps you see clearly, and seeing clearly is often the first step towards staying safe, making wise choices, and protecting your future. A major revelation is closer than you think. There are seasons in life when everything feels uncertain. Questions remain unanswered, situations seem confusing, and events unfold in ways that make little sense. During these moments, it is easy to believe that clarity is far away. It is easy to assume that the truth will never fully emerge, or that the answers you seek will remain hidden forever. Yet some of the most significant revelations arrive when people least expect them. They appear suddenly after long periods of silence, transforming confusion into understanding and uncertainty into clarity. What many people fail to realize is that important revelations are often developing behind the scenes long before they become visible. While nothing appears to be happening on the surface, pieces are quietly moving into place. Conversations are occurring, information is being uncovered, patterns are forming, circumstances are shifting. What seems like a period of inactivity may actually be a period of preparation. The truth has its own timing, and it often works beyond what anyone can see. There are individuals who spend enormous effort trying to keep certain things hidden. They rely on secrecy, hoping that time will protect them. They believe that if enough days pass, questions will disappear and attention will move elsewhere. But reality rarely works that way. Hidden actions leave traces. Decisions create consequences. Secrets generate pressure. The longer something remains concealed, the more difficult it becomes to maintain. Eventually, the weight of what has been hidden begins creating cracks that allow the truth to escape. This is why major revelations often seem sudden, even though they have been developing for a long time. To the outside world, it appears as if everything changed overnight. In reality, the process began much earlier. The evidence was accumulating. The contradictions were growing. The pieces were connecting. People simply could not see the full picture yet. If you are currently facing uncertainty, do not assume that silence means nothing is happening. Sometimes the greatest breakthroughs occur during the quietest moments. Sometimes the answers you have been searching for are much closer than they appear. What is hidden today may become obvious tomorrow. What feels confusing now may soon make perfect sense. A major revelation is not always years away. It can be just around the corner, waiting for the exact moment when the truth can no longer remain hidden and everything finally comes into focus. Here is a strong conclusion and ending for your speech. As we come to the end of this message, remember the powerful truth that has echoed through every part of this speech. Awareness is your greatest protection. Not every danger announces itself. Not every trap looks threatening. Some arrive disguised as opportunities, friendships, coincidences, or harmless observations. Yet no matter how carefully deception is hidden, the truth always leaves a trail. What is concealed today will eventually be revealed. What is done in secret will not remain secret forever. If someone has been watching, studying, recording, or gathering information about your life, understand this. Their greatest advantage was never their knowledge, it was your lack of awareness. The moment you begin paying attention, the balance changes. The moment you recognize the signs, the trap begins to lose its power. The moment you choose wisdom over fear, you place yourself in a position of strength. Do not allow uncertainty to control you. Do not allow hidden agendas to distract you from your purpose. Continue moving forward with confidence, discernment, and faith in your ability to recognize the truth when it appears. Trust your instincts. Observe patterns. Protect your peace. And remember that clarity often arrives when it is needed most. There may be revelations unfolding right now that you cannot yet see. Conversations may be happening behind closed doors. Evidence may be surfacing. Secrets may be approaching their expiration date. What feels confusing today may soon become crystal clear. The answers you have been waiting for could be much closer than you think. So as you leave this message, carry this thought with you. Darkness can hide many things for a season, but it can never overpower the light forever. The truth is coming out. The masks are beginning to fall. The hidden story is being revealed. And when that moment arrives, you will understand why every warning, every sign, and every lesson in this message mattered. Stay alert, stay wise, stay protected, and above all, never underestimate the power of seeing what others hope you will never notice. Until next time, keep your eyes open, guard your spirit, and remember, the truth always finds a way to be heard.